Today we will be looking at planning and backward mapping assessment tasks. Your learning goal for today is to understand how to break down assessment tasks into manageable, smaller tasks. Your other learning goal today is to plan and set due dates for yourself prior to the assessment task date. Why is planning important? Planning is important because it helps you to achieve success. If you have a known avoidant mindset or an anxious mindset when it comes to projects and tasks, then often you will procrastinate or deadlines will cause you stress. Planning can help overcome these obstacles. By breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, you'll be able to see your progress on a task and a project more clearly. Hopefully this will help to reduce stress and will help you to stop avoiding the task altogether. Planning is like making steps for a recipe, but for a project or tasks. You need to break down the assessment task into steps to complete and set yourself due dates. Planning for an assessment task is like making yourself a recipe. You have all the ingredients, which is your task outline, and all your classwork, which are all your ingredients. Without the steps to the recipe, it's hard to know where to begin or what to do. It would be like trying to make this chicken stir fry in class without the method. How would you know what to cook first? You might just chuck a whole carrot into the stir fry without cutting it up first, or a whole floret of broccoli. To be able to make the stir fry effectively, you need to know the method. You need to know the steps. You need to know what to do first and what to do last to get it right. Well, planning is just like that. Backward mapping is just like this as well, creating steps to help you to complete the project. How do we plan? Step 1, the first thing that you need to do is you need to know what's required of you. You need to read the assessment task first, and then you can break down the steps. Today, we're going to be looking at your PDHPE assessment task, and we're going to be breaking that down. So the first thing that you need to look at is your due date, which you'll find here, which is Monday the 22nd of June. So if you haven't already, the first thing that you can do is put that into your online calendar so that you know when that's due and you have that reminder coming up for you. Once you've read the assessment task, you'll know that you need the first part of your assessment task is case study research. So you need to research stories of people who have overcome significant challenges and adversity. Then the second part is your reflection. So this assessment task is already broken down into two parts for you. The first one, case study research. The second one is your reflection. But there are a lot of steps in the reflection section of your assessment task as well. So in a moment, we're going to look at how we can break this down into smaller, more manageable steps, rather than just looking at two really large chunks of work, researching, and then answering all of these questions in one go. I have this photograph here because I wanted to highlight to you that the PDHPE staff have given you a scaffold to help you answer these questions. By providing you with lines, they're telling you how much they expect you to write for a question. So for identify the type and nature of the adversity and then explain how the adversity affected his or her lifestyle, which is part B, section A, it's worth 3 marks, but they're expecting you to write almost a page for that. So that can be used as a guide when you're completing the assessment task and breaking down these sections so you know roughly how much you should be writing about. Okay, I've provided here some steps for your PDHPE assessment task, and there are a lot of steps here, but the idea is that you break the task down into smaller chunks that you'll be able to complete quicker in your own time rather than leaving everything to the last minute. So my first step is that you need to research a person who has overcome a significant adversity or challenge. You could use someone from the list provided, or maybe you know someone of your own that you want to research, and that's fine. So the first thing you need to do is to complete all of that research. Then, when you have finished completing the research, my suggestion is that you look up a glossary of the NESA verbs. Identify, explain, and outline, which are all the ones in your assessment task, so you know how to answer the questions for part B more effectively. You need to know how to identify, how to explain, and how to outline. Once you've done that and you've got the glossary and NESA verbs next to you and the definitions of those verbs, I suggest that you go and complete question 1 from the reflection. The next step, complete question 2, then question 3, then question 4. Now, those steps are already embedded in your assessment task because they've been broken down for you. But the next one, step 7, is something that maybe you haven't thought of before, which is submit a draft of the assessment to your PDHPE teacher for feedback. And the final step for the assessment task is really important, which is to edit the draft before the final submission. Backward mapping. You might think, what is this? What is backward mapping? Well, it's mapping out how you complete the task, but backwards. It gives yourself direction when approaching a task or project or assessment. Backward mapping is putting each step that we've just broken down on your calendar and giving yourself due dates to ensure that you have plenty of time to complete these tasks. This will force you to complete the work rather than avoid it, and if you get anxious about tasks, it should help you to see that the overall task is achievable when it's in smaller parts.